Hi, thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad you've joined me. And if you are here, then most likely you are a mum who is preparing for your return to work very soon. Or perhaps you have already returned to work and maybe you've been back for some time. But either way, welcome to your free training on how to be a confident career mum. And in this free training, you will be uncovering the three steps that I take my clients through on their one-to-one coaching programs with me. And these three steps are going to enable you to enjoy motherhood, to release things like imposter syndrome, and return to work, ultimately feeling calm, feeling confident, and feeling in control. So, as I mentioned, if you're here, you are here because you're a mum, preparing for your return to work, or perhaps you've already returned, like I said. Likelihood is you're feeling burnt out, you're feeling lost within yourself at the moment. You are finding the thought and the reality of having a career whilst being a mum very overwhelming. You want to regain some balance. You want to be able to set some boundaries that help you to feel replenished, to feel yourself again, and you want to feel confident and enjoy your career and enjoy being a mum too. But perhaps it just feels all a little bit impossible. It feels very overwhelming. You don't know where to start. And time just feels so incredibly limited when you're a busy mum. And you don't want to burden anyone. You don't feel like you want to ask for help and burden other people with asking for that help. And any new habits that maybe you've tried perhaps just don't seem to be sticking either. But all that being said, you know that something needs to change and you know you want to experience that change for the good. So before we dive into where do we even start to make sure that we can get you out of feeling this way and get you towards feeling, calm, confident, and in control in your career and as a mum, let me just introduce myself very quickly. I am Rachel. I am Welsh, if you've not heard already in my accent, and I'm based in Southwest Wales in beautiful Pembrokeshire. My proudest role to date definitely is being a mum, and probably the role to date which has just meant that I've learnt the absolute most. And I'm sure that you and other mums will likely agree with that. It's been a huge learning curve, an enjoyable one, and also a very challenging one. But definitely my proudest. But as well as that role, I'm also an accredited performance coach. I support mums like yourself in returning back to work confidently. I have previously, before starting my own business in coaching, I was within my learning and development career, working for companies like ASOS, helping their employees to really thrive in the workplace and in their roles. And my love for supporting people and wanting to have a positive impact really started right back when I was doing my degree in health psychology. So that's a little bit about me. I'm very, very passionate from experiencing what it's like as a mum myself and seeing friends and family and so many of my clients and other mums that I talk to go through it. I'm very, very passionate about supporting mums, and I want you to feel confident like you deserve to. And I want you to feel calm amongst the chaos that we so often experience on a day to day. And I want you to feel in control through the roller coaster of changes that we go through in motherhood. So I'm very passionate about that. And today, in this free training with you, I want to hopefully help share some of that with you. So let's get back to it. I mentioned just previously, before I start introducing myself, about why you might be here and what you might be feeling at the moment and where you want to perhaps get to. And I said, where do we actually start? How do we break the cycle of feeling like this? Where's the starting point essentially? The starting point is here, and this is what I first take my clients through when I'm beginning to work with them. And that's all about understanding what's going on with our mind when we are faced with change. So, as I mentioned just previously, motherhood is full of change on a daily basis. We have got unpredictable change thrown at us from one day to the next. And when your brain is faced with a large quantity of change and change that is often quite unpredictable, it can feel very, very overwhelmed. And that is likely something that you're feeling right now, overwhelm. And, using a really accurate, a really relatable example, returning to work is a big change in your life. It's a transition that you're going through. And for your mind who, for this past year has just about gotten used to the fact that you're a mum now, and you've just about got your hands around how to cope with the responsibilities and the emotional curveballs and the roller coasters that you're going through, and just the responsibilities that come with being a mum. You're now thrown another challenge, which is returning to work. And it's not just returning into an environment that you know so well, because you're returning a year later, maybe even more. And that environment would have changed so much within a year or more. And you're also, changed in ways of there'll be new people, your role might look different. The company may have changed so much. But not only that, but you're returning having changed as well. You are a new woman, essentially. Your mind has changed, your body's changed, your responsibilities have changed, your purpose has changed. Change, 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 I feel like I'm saying. So there's a lot of change going on. And to a mind which loves to feel comfortable, it loves to feel safe and feel protected, this is a lot. So its immediate response when it's going through something challenging is to go into what we call this fight or flight or freeze response. So it's known as your kind of threat response. And that is basically its way of protecting you, trying to help you to feel safe. When you're in this fight or flight mode, you get really increased emotion. And some of the things you might be feeling at the moment is, like I said, overwhelmed. You might be feeling quite anxious. You might be feeling a bit panicked. You might be feeling really upset at the thought of leaving your little one and having to do new things. You just might be feeling very nervous, which is all very, very normal. But this is a typical response when you're in this fight or flight mode. As well as feeling increased emotion, you then also have your rational thinking. That part of your brain is reduced. So this is where the negative thoughts all start to creep in. The inner critic starts to creep in. So you might be getting thoughts like, you're not going to be able to do this. You're not going to remember how to work. You haven't got the strengths or the capabilities anymore to do that. Your mind doesn't work like it used to. You might have a lot of guilt showing up, or, your mind saying, you should feel really bad for leaving your little one, or, God, it's wrong to be excited about going to work. You shouldn't feel excited. There'll be loads of irrational thoughts currently going through your mind. And when this is going on, when you've got the irrational thinking going on, the increased emotion going on, this then ultimately impairs your performance. So you just become incredibly overwhelmed. You don't quite know where to turn next. You don't quite know what to do. Everything just feels a bit of a muddle, and you feel like you're probably not being very effective in anything right now, because you just feel like you're spreading yourself thinly across everything. So what I want to say first and foremost is this is a really normal response to have. Every mum will go through something like this in some form or another in their own kind of unique way. So it's very, very normal. And like I said, this is your brain's natural way of responding. Our brains are wired like this for a reason, because they're there to keep us safe. But sometimes, unfortunately, through whatever reason, through, false beliefs that we've maybe kind of embedded, which we won't get into, but for whatever reason, your brain sometimes doesn't quite analyze situations correctly. So it might see something as a threat and think you need to protect yourself, but it's not actually a threat that you need to be worried about. So the best example that we are working on here, and which is what I'm here to support you with, is your return to work as a mum. To your mind, it feels very uncomfortable. It feels like it might be a threat that it needs to protect you from. But actually, it's something that you can definitely do. It's just about reminding your mind about how you've got this. It's thanks for trying to keep me safe, but I've got this. I know what I'm doing, and there's nothing for me to feel worried about. Okay. So this is where I start my clients with first and foremost, because having an understanding of what your mind is going through when you're going through a really substantial part in your life, a transition and a big change like returning to work, having an understanding of that is really helpful, because from that understanding and that awareness, you then get an idea of what's going on, why you're responding and feeling the way you're feeling. And so where you can actually start to support yourself and help yourself move through that effectively and positively. So that's where we start. But how do we then break the cycle of this? Because if you don't have any coping mechanisms or ways of, techniques to help you through this, then it does just become a repetitive negative cycle. And that's where you do stop yourself and hold yourself back from amazing opportunities. So where do we start? How do we break that cycle? Well, this is what I do with my clients. I take them through what I call the Hey Mumma Method. It is a very simple, a very highly effective blueprint that I use with all my clients. And it's what I start them on as soon as they join me on their one-to-one coaching journey. Now, at the center of this, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but I'm just circling it here with my mouse. At the center of this method is essentially what you're kind of aiming for, is that feeling that empowered career mother, a mother who is calm, who is confident, and who's in control in their return to work. But also outside of that, as a mum, I want you to be able to feel calm, confident, and in control. And also outside of your career and outside of being a mum, I want you to feel this too. So in all of your kind of identities, I want you to feel calm, confident, and in control. So that is essentially what we're aiming for. And I want these kind of elements to seep into all aspects of you. How do we get to that? How do you get to that? Where do you start? So these are the three elements that kind of form the core of the method that I take my mothers through. And that's thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Now, your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, in my belief and through research that I've done, they fall and they form the core of all kind of effective change. So if you kind of manage to get a grip, a control around these three things and manage these in an effective way, then you can really put into place positive and lasting change within your life in all areas of your life, because these three things are at the core of any change that you will go through. So let's break these three elements down a little bit more. When I am taking my mothers through the kind of awareness of their emotions, we are looking at things like I just mentioned, your fight or flight mode. So really understanding what your emotions feel like and look like when you're in that fight or flight mode, and getting really aware of that. I really help my mums to become more aware of what their emotional triggers are, because when you're aware of those emotional triggers, then you can really understand what support you need. And how you can manage them, more effectively. And we then look at, what practical tools are going to really help you to manage those emotions So things like boundaries, things like intentional rest, we really get to work on putting into place. What I always really want to make my clients aware of is the fact that emotions are really important. Emotions are, something that really make us aware of what we're going through, what we feel, and what's important to us. So we don't want to be feeling no emotions, but what we really want to be able to do is to effectively manage those when we need to. Because, as I mentioned earlier, in that kind of cycle that we go through when our brain is faced with change, when we're in a really high state of emotion, it impacts our ability to think rationally, it impacts our performance. So, we want to get you to a place where you are able to manage your emotions effectively, so that other parts of you and of your brain aren't impacted. Okay. But knowing that it's normal to have these emotional roller coasters is really important, because I would never want you thinking that you're not normal in what you're experiencing, because we definitely all feel these emotions too. Another big thing is about resilience as well, really helping my clients to build their level of resilience so that they can cope with the challenges that they come up against in motherhood, in their career, and so on. The second element is thoughts. So we really look into thoughts, the power of your subconscious mind, and what internal beliefs have been built up over a long period of time. And I get my clients to get really aware of the types of inner dialogues that they're having and the triggers from things like our imposter syndrome, and maybe the mum guilt that's going on. What's that stopping us from doing, etc. And then we look at really good practical tools to put into place to help you in renewing your mindset, reframing your mindset so that you can see it in the more rational way of thinking. And of course, I want you to have that mindset that feels confident, that shows itself self-compassion, and opens itself up to a kind of solutions perspective rather than a closed mindset. Then the third aspect, the third element, is behaviors. So getting really aware of what habits have you got going on that are maybe actually impacting you negatively as opposed to really supporting you. I really help my clients to understand the influence, the power of what's in your control and what's not, and how you can harness that. We really do some good work on the kind of identities that you have, what behaviors really help you in tapping into those identities. And then some really practical behaviors and actions like planning and prioritizing, and looking at what your routine looks like on a day-to-day basis, so that we can make your day-to-day as a busy working mum as simple and as easy and as effortless as possible. So what I want to take you into now, before we close this kind of free training with you, is giving you a bit of a sneak peek into session 1 with clients. So I've already shared with you my Hey Mumma method. So this is the overall kind of blueprint that I will be taking you through. And I shared with you a really great starting point that I share with my clients, which would be done in session 1. So understanding your brain when faced with challenge and when faced with change. So I've taken you through these 2 elements, but there's a further thing that I want to show you and give you a bit of a sneak peek into that I do with my clients in session 1. And I wanted to show you this because I wanted this training to be as valuable as possible. And one of the things I thought that would be really, really useful is to help you with a starting point. Because so often one of the biggest words I hear mums share with me, and I know that I've felt myself, and I still do, is this word of overwhelm, this feeling and this experience of overwhelm. And when you're going through, a change like returning to work, it's incredibly overwhelming when you're trying to juggle so many plates as a busy mum. And so I wanted to share something with you that I do in my first session with my clients that would really help you to immediately reduce that overwhelm. And it helps you to it helps to give you a starting point, a place where you know this is where I start and this is the step I can take next. Okay, because often when you're overwhelmed, you literally just don't know where to start, do you? So this is what I do in my first session with my clients. So when my clients come to me, in that first session, we look at what I call the Confident Career Mama Wheel. So we basically, in a very simple and quick way of explaining this to you, we look at what this client's overall goal is that they're really wanting to achieve, and essentially it's all about returning to work, feeling confident, feeling calm, feeling in control, and really enjoying that process. So I ask my clients, well, what elements of your life will play a key role in helping you to feel calm, to feel confident and in control whilst returning to your career? So after a bit of reflection and really dissecting that, we pull out the elements that they feel play a key role in really helping them with this and helping them to accomplish this. And we fill in this wheel with the key elements of their life. So it may be things like confidence. Their confidence is something that's definitely holding them back and they need to make some changes with. It may be rest. They're not getting any form of rest at all, and so they are just continuously feeling burnt out. It may be boundaries. They have no boundaries in their life at the moment. They are people pleasing. They are saying yes to everything and anyone, and they just feel out of control. So boundaries may be something that is going to help them in that area. And these elements are all things that actually, if you work on and you make changes to and shifts within, they're all going to really help you to ultimately achieve that return to your career where you're feeling calm, you're feeling confident, and you're feeling in control. Now, within each of those elements, I would then be looking at the emotions, the thoughts, the behaviors that they've got going on currently, and the changes that need to be happening. Okay, so something for you to take away from this free training is filling in your own confident career mama wheel. After this, ask yourself this question. Take a screenshot of this screen and print it out and fill in your own wheel. Ask yourself this question first. What elements of your life will play a key role in helping me to feel calm, to feel confident, and feel in control whilst returning to my career? Fill in your wheel with the top 8 segments or elements of your life that are going to help you in achieving that. And then it's a case of breaking those down even further. So pick one that feels the top priority for you at the moment to deal with, and then break that down even further. So what could be your first step in building that confidence up for yourself? Okay. So that's a sneak peek into what I do with my clients in their first ever session with me. And then it just becomes even more kind of juicier as we go through the program. We really just dissect and delve into those segments deeper and deeper and deeper. And we make really manageable, sustainable changes that can help them get to that end goal that we've identified. I wanted to share with you before we go, just some snippets of client success that my clients have shared with me, because I wanted you to see that it's 100% possible to feel in control, to feel calm, to feel confident in your career. It's 100% possible to enjoy both motherhood and a career at the same time, and to release yourself from things like imposter syndrome. So I wanted you to see that it's possible, because I want this for you as well. So here are just a few snippets of feedback from clients and what they've experienced. So one of my favorites up here is feeling like my resilience is 1000% higher than 6 months ago. Another one, asking for help. With the additional working meetings, I have reached out to family who live locally to help me juggle making dinner for my little one and doing some meetings. You know, for this client, she found it really, really difficult to ask for help. She felt like she needed to do everything herself, which was just, of course, adding to the complete overwhelm that she was experiencing. And so the fact that she got to the stage where she was asking for help and reaching out to family to get help for juggling those dinners that she was making with the meetings that she had on in that particular busy period of her life was incredible. And she felt really empowered that she was able to do that. What else can I share with you? Well, they're all here. So have, pause this training and have a read through yourself. Another one that I absolutely love was this one. So the good news is that it was leadership team meeting today. A meeting I've been finding really stressful and anxiety driving because of pressure from boss, stress about not being confident, etc., etc. And actually, I wasn't as anxious. I felt calm in the meeting, even discussing topics that were triggering for me before. So yay, the theme of feeling calmer and more in control continues. So it is definitely possible, and I definitely want you to experience this as well. So if it is something you would like to experience, if it is something that you want to take action on, then please take advantage of the free Career Mum coaching call that is available to you. Within that 30-minute free call, I help you to put a plan together that is going to give you the starting steps for helping you to feel calm, confident and in control in your career, in your mum life and more. So just below this free training video, you will see the button to book that free call. And of course, if you have any questions at all, then please reach out to me. All my details are on the page, and I am available at any time to answer those questions. Thank you again for joining me, and I'll speak to you really soon.